A massive update has just come out of Detroit, the kind that completely changes the atmosphere inside the locker room and can define the franchise's immediate future. Sources and official statements have confirmed that the Lions are in full alert mode, facing decisions that go beyond a simple loss. The team fell to the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-24 in Week 16, a defeat that was emotionally devastating, and that result put the entire season in jeopardy. The playoff chances that seemed relatively comfortable just weeks ago are now hanging by a thread, and the internal response was immediate. Dan Campbell did not stay silent, did not try to soften the situation, and did not deliver a generic speech. He was direct, firm, and made it clear that no one is going to feel sorry for the Lions. But before we get into the strongest parts of that message, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and turn on notifications, because this is where you get all the latest Detroit Lions updates in real time, especially in critical moments like this, when every piece of information matters and every decision can be a true turning point. Now, let's get into what really happened behind the scenes. After the loss to the Steelers, Dan Campbell addressed the team and delivered a message that perfectly summarizes the current state of the Lions. According to reporter Eric Woodyard, Campbell essentially told the team to move forward, but not in a comfortable or reassuring way. It was a move forward filled with urgency, accountability, and pressure. Campbell made it clear that there are only a few days left, only a handful of practices, and absolutely no margin for error. He talked about the importance of working on the mental side of the game, recovering physically, getting proper rest, and above all, getting back to work with total focus. The strongest line came when he stated that nobody cares about what the Lions are going through. No one is going to feel sorry for them. The game plan is already set, and it's up to the players to absorb it as quickly as possible and be ready emotionally, psychologically, and physically when it's time to play again. This kind of message shows that the locker room is not collapsing, but it also makes it clear that the season has reached that point where only those who respond will survive. And the context makes everything even heavier. Dan Campbell is in his 5th season as head coach of the Lions and has already proven his value by leading the team to back-to-back playoff appearances in 2023 and 2024, something that seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. However, the 2025 season has been marked by inconsistency, injuries, defensive breakdowns, and games that slipped away in the details. With only 2 games left in the regular season, Detroit holds an 8-7 record, sits 3rd in the NFC North behind the Packers and Bears, and currently ranks 8th in the overall NFC standings. In other words, as things stand now, they are outside the playoff picture. The team is still ahead of the Vikings and Buccaneers, but any stumble could be fatal. The next game, on the road against the Minnesota Vikings on December 25th, has become a true do-or-die scenario. It's not an exaggeration to say that the immediate future of the entire project runs through that matchup, and that is exactly why Campbell's tone was so harsh and so direct. But this situation also opens the door to a much bigger debate, one that is already gaining traction among analysts and fans alike. Should the Lions go beyond speeches and consider major changes to the coaching staff? There's a very clear precedent in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles went through something very similar, a dominant 14-3 season, the loss of both coordinators to head coaching jobs, a sharp decline the following year, and a humiliating playoff exit. The difference is that Philadelphia made a radical decision. Instead of sticking with the same approach, they fired both coordinators, aggressively pursued top-tier coaching talent, hired the best professionals available, and shortly thereafter won the Super Bowl. The big question now is whether Detroit would have the courage to follow that same path. Some firmly believe a new offensive coordinator must be hired immediately, while others argue that Kelvin Shepard deserves another year with a healthy defense and without budget-related limitations. Still, there's also a strong case for a complete overhaul, one that is not based on Campbell hiring people he already knows, but on simply bringing in the best available coaches on the market. If that is the strategy, 2 names stand out as extremely intriguing options who could be available at just the right time. Brian Callahan, former head coach of the Titans, is one of them.
Many fans dismiss him immediately simply because he was fired, but context matters. The Titans are a textbook example of how a franchise can be poorly run from the top down, and it's hard to argue that Callahan ever had a real chance there. Before that, he spent 5 seasons as the offensive coordinator for the Bengals, helped lead them to the Super Bowl in 2021, and kept the offense among the best in the league. On top of that, he already knows Detroit, having served as the Lions' quarterbacks coach in 2016 and 2017, and he has an indirect connection to Campbell through Zach Taylor. On the defensive side of the ball, Jonathan Gannon emerges as a very strong candidate. The former Eagles defensive coordinator led one of the best defenses in the NFL, especially in 2022, when Philadelphia allowed the fewest passing yards in the league. Even without a direct connection to Campbell, Gannon does have ties to Brad Holmes, which could be a key factor. If the Lions decide that it's time for a pure competence-driven reset with no emotional attachment, this could be the path forward. Now I want to hear from you. Would you go all in on major coaching changes, or would you keep the core intact and trust the players to respond? Leave your opinion in the comments. Join the discussion. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any crucial Detroit Lions updates.
A major update has just come out, and it's still echoing strongly among Detroit Lions fans. The controversial loss at Ford Field left the feeling that the game slipped away in the smallest details, especially after 2 touchdowns were wiped off the board in the final 25 seconds due to offensive pass interference calls. Even with widespread frustration, Jared Goff surprised many by taking a calm and measured stance when addressing the officiating, making it clear he doesn't want to use the referee's decisions as an excuse for the team's difficult position in the season. After the game, the Lions quarterback acknowledged how complex on-field decisions can be and emphasized the constant pressure officials face. Goff admitted he disagreed with some calls, particularly a play involving Isaac Tesla, but reinforced that football always has 2 sides. According to him, Detroit has benefited from similar situations in the past, and now the team has to live with the other side of that reality. His message was straightforward. The penalties hurt, but they don't change what already happened, and the team must move forward. On the winning side, Aaron Rodgers said he was already expecting the penalty to be confirmed after watching the officials communicate during the review. He even referenced past controversial NFL moments to highlight how unpredictable games like this can be. With the win, the Steelers improved to 9 victories on the season, while Detroit saw its playoff chances drop to extremely low levels, with only 2 games remaining to try to pull off a miracle. On the field, the Lions struggled mainly on defense against the run, allowing 230 rushing yards, while the offense failed to establish a ground game, finishing with just 15 rushing yards total. Still, players like Khalif Raymond, Isaac Tesla, and Anthony Ferkser stepped up and kept the team alive until the final seconds. Now the situation is one of maximum pressure, a real risk of elimination, and an urgent need to respond. If you want to keep following all the news, analysis, and updates on the Detroit Lions, make sure to leave a like and stay tuned with us for the next updates on the team.